Hey guys, so here bringing you another video. Now I'm uploading this to the second channel and I'm going to promote it on the first channel, the main channel, because I don't really want to do this as a separate video. This video might not even make it to 10 minutes long. But basically I wanted to bring to the attention somebody that I think deserves a bit of praise. And some people may be surprised me saying that because they're like, Huz, you've hated it from moment number one. Why would you be praising the main guy who implemented role ranked? Because I think it's important to praise people that you can tell are good people and people that are working really hard, even if you sometimes disagree with them, even if sometimes you're like, what you're doing, not great. As a person, to me, he deserves a lot of praise. So as I said, I'm uploading this to the second channel. I might even upload it now, as in tonight, and I'll just promote it on the main channel and my social medias. And for those that are interested, they can watch it. But the person that I think deserves a bit of praise is Satmagic. That's his gamer tag, or Ed is his actual name, and he's the head of ranked at Riot Games. And the reason why I want to make this video is because, as many of you know, I do have a game design background, and I know how stressful it can be. You know, in university, my projects were stressful, let alone being the head of the rank system to a player base of 100 million players. Like, that's crazy. And he, I imagine, has probably had the most stressful year of his career. Probably more stressed in the last few weeks, but overall probably quite stressful. But I wanted to bring to you know, the attention of how willing the guy is to adapt, which is so good for a game designer. Because usually what happens, and it's not just a game design thing, but basically when a game designer has an idea, you could treat it as, you know, that's their baby, it's their idea, you know, are they going to let it go in a weird way? They implement it, and if it's perceived badly, they either do one of two things. They either, you know, just leave it, they're correct, the player base is wrong, or it kind of takes a while for it to get undone because the game designer is still holding on to it as long, and it kind of probably takes Riot to go, can you change that, instead of the designer itself. We've seen this a couple times in Riot. Season 6, Dynamic Q. You know, that was kind of the same situation we're in now. People were hesitant before it got released. It got released, it was bad. It took a year for that to go away, and League of Legends did suffer because of it. Other examples are like little examples when champions have come out. From memory, when Talia got released, her W was just not working the way that everybody wanted it to, but the designer really wanted it to work a certain way, which just didn't make sense. It eventually got changed and made the way the player base wanted to, but it took a while. So there are examples of this, but Ed, to me, is the best example of being good, of being open to conversation, open to change, open to, like, actually not holding on to his idea. And again, I know this idea came from a good place. The idea is obviously trying to casualify League a little bit more in some ways, and in other ways make it more hardcore. Because role ranked, in theory, improves the quality of the game if everybody is in on a role and rank that they kind of deserve. The problem in lies that not every player is going to like the system, for one, so they're going to care about off-roles more, and people don't want it to be as grindy. Like, there's many problems, and that's the basic principle that I think people don't like it. There's too many negatives for positives. But the reason why I wanted to bring to light is today they updated everybody with a ranked dev update, number 3, for this whole system. And it was mainly of two things. One, just a general update of how things are going, and more of a update to the high rating players, which obviously doesn't really affect that many people. It affects me, it may affect a couple of you watching, but on average it doesn't affect you. The reason why I will say the higher rating community seems to be so vocal, and why the player base is very aware of it, it's the problem with content creation with League and YouTube and Twitch, is everybody that you watch mainly in League of Legends content has the problems of the higher rating, because we're all higher rating. So when you're watching, let's say me, Red Mercy, or the pros, whoever, like, we're all in that rating bracket that is getting affected negatively by the matchmaking of Season 9. But to the average player, it's not really that bad. And that's why sometimes it does seem a little bit like an echo chamber of problems, and I do understand that when it comes to higher rating problems, because really it's only affecting about 0.5% of the people in the game, but because all the content creators are in that 0.5, it seems like it's a really big problem. But I will say they do need to fix it, because the whole point of ranked and league is to try and improve. And if your higher rating player base is having arguably the most problems, that's not a very positive experience for people that want to get to that higher rating. It was the same thing with Dynamic Queue. Before they kind of made a few changes to the system, the people that had the worst time were high rating players, hence probably why they reverted it in the end. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up is it wasn't just the post itself that Ed himself wrote. It was also within the Reddit thread of sharing that. A fellow writer called the Cactopus put a post down and basically confirmed something that I already knew about how Ed is a good guy and he's not egocentric, and he has been always open to reverting it. If you've ever seen him on Twitter, again, I've had conversations with the guy. He has always, and I mean always, said, I am open to the idea of it going away. And you know, in sometimes in your mind you're like, is he really? Is he just saying that to be nice? Is he saying that to come across nice? No, he actually genuinely meant it by the looks of it. So in the actual ranked post itself, quote, and I will just say it word for word so I don't get anything wrong, is, in brackets, this is the actual quotation, based on the feedback and reception, we're also evaluating whether we should end positional rank previews and go back to a single rank. So just get rid of them. Because what seems to be the case is most of the ranked stuff that's been going on has been received pretty well, which is great, and I predicted that. Obviously, the matchmaking has gone a bit weird, but everything else, the new placement games, the actual different tiers, that seems all good. But role ranked itself has been received really badly. And then the post that Cactopus updated and put down, and basically he just kind of mentioned that, you know, in the past year, Ed has been speaking to, you know, people on Reddit, Twitter, YouTubers, partners, everybody, and I can confirm that he's always answered DMs on Twitter. I've had actual voice chats with him. It's like so much hard work that guy must be putting in, and I've had, I think, a chat with him once was on a Saturday, which obviously would have been his day off. So just to put that out there, he has worked incredibly hard collecting his own personal feedback. And remember, this is the guy that's in charge. He's not delegating talking to people to some, you know, employee. He's doing it himself. But basically, Cactopus, it kind of explains how he probably understands that Ed has been under a lot of pressure because of the negativity behind role ranked. So he went over to his desk at Riot and was like, how are you doing? And kind of had a chat with him about he wanted to do a post telling the players we're seriously thinking about turning role ranked off. Cactopus was like, are you sure that, you know, you're okay with that? You know, I know you've said you're okay with the idea of, you know, reverting it, but are you okay with that? And apparently what happened was Ed, head of ranked, pulled up a chart of surveys of the regions with positional ranks. So North America and Korea. And apparently these, you know, feedbacks on how they like role ranked started okay, but then apparently got worse over time, which is the opposite of a lot of people's guesses. So the people that liked role ranked basically guessed, because I watched a couple of videos of people that were the opposite to me, that loved the idea of role ranked, and they're like, oh no, people, you know, they might not like it at the beginning, but within a few weeks they'll like it, you know, it'll be great. I saw people predicting that, but apparently it's the opposite. Apparently, which I gonna be honest, I didn't even predict. Apparently people are like, we don't really like it, and instead of people kind of growing to like it, they've actually grown to hate it more. Which I was like, And I have heard, you know, I think it was on Reddit maybe 2 weeks ago, that an independent survey was done in Korea, and a lot of people took part in it, and it was overwhelmingly negative for role ranked. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because with this data, the Cactopus was like, oh, damn. And Ed was like, if the players don't love it, it's the right thing to do, as in get rid of it. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I wanted to bring some positivity to the situation of, you know, game designers try and they make ideas, and it's a breath of fresh air when a game designer like Ed takes a lot of probably BM. Like I have given it a hard time, but I've never ever gone personal to Ed because I know what he's trying to do. I know he's a game designer looking to build the game more. But for a guy to probably receive that amount of have that amount of stress, have that amount of pressure, and probably that amount of people going at him in probably, you know, I imagine most people are nice about it, but there's probably a lot of negativity behind the feedback. For him to just kind of go, if the players don't like it, it's the right thing to do to get rid of it, instead of holding on to it and going, no, we're doing it. Dude, you got to give props to that. Like, that to me is game designer of the year, you know. And will I ever bash people to try and design something? No. Like, in future, what I'd probably say, if anything, is just listen to the player base before the change. I don't think, and, you know, people in the comments let me know if there is a situation, I don't think there's ever been a idea that Riot had and kind of go, we're thinking about doing this, and I don't think it's ever happened, that a player base has absolutely hated the idea of it, Riot implemented it, and then people started to love it. I don't think that's ever happened. If the player base hates the idea, they're probably going to hate it when it's implemented. Because, yeah, like, all the negatives that people predicted Role Ranked was going to have, it has, you know, and some other negatives have also come out of it too. And I will say, I think he's definitely had a harder time of it than if it was a smoother Season 9. What I mean by that is the matchmaking problems I don't think have helped for him. But, you know, apparently a lot of the feedback they're getting are specifically about Role Rank, nothing to do with the matchmaking. So, yeah, again, the problems, and if I just actually go onto the post itself, the three major problems, like I think I even mentioned, you know, way back when, it's too grindy. You know, when you're implementing, you have one rank versus you have 5 ranks. Too grindy. It doesn't feel rewarding. So on top of a slower progress for field players, we've heard feedback that it doesn't feel like there's much payoff for ranking up in multiple positions. That was something that I said. Where's the reward for somebody that gets diamond in 3 roles? At the moment, there isn't any. And lower competitive intent. So some players feel negative splashing hasn't proven to be strong enough of a punishment to dissuade other people committing, basically being trolling if someone gets an off roll. That was never going to be big enough to dissuade people. Like I have said, the only way that you make role ranked work is you get rid of autofill, because then you get rid of the problem of somebody being on a role they don't care about. And really, that won't be enough, to be honest, because majority of people in the role rank system only care about one role. That's it. So if you're making them queue up as 2 roles, well, still, one of their roles they don't care about. And it's even worse with autofill. So I think it just won't work in general unless you let people pick one role, and I would never want that to happen. I think that would be the worst thing for the League player base, is if you let people only queue up as one role. I love when the player base is broad and the ability to play multiple roles in their rating. And a lot of people also said to me, you know, oh, Huz, that's the idea with role rank. You get to play at a lesser pressure, but any role you want. But again, that's kind of boring and too grindy. And again, I've always said I don't rate a player. If you're on your main rank and you know, are so much worse at a lesser rank, I don't think you're a great player to begin with. So, I don't know. Like, I'm an old fogey. I know I am. I preferred back in the old system when there wasn't even picking 2 roles. I am one of those very rare people that preferred the pick order in Champion Select. I know, I'm crazy, but that's just who I am, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to make this video. I know it's a bit random, but basically just to bring some positivity, some light to one designer at least. And again, it's probably more than him. It's probably his whole team. But I just personally know the guy's worked really hard. Just by the basic principle of how much communication the guy is doing with streamers, pros, anybody. Like, he's replying to people on Twitter all the time. And you can tell he genuinely cares. So I'd say a big congrats to him of doing many things right. It's just the big one that isn't, unfortunately. But yeah, again, this isn't a guarantee that role ranked is going away. I'd say it's looking likely that it is going away. But we'll apparently know more on March the 8th. And we'll also know more about what they're going to be doing for the higher rated players, where things are just messed up. And I'll say, of the very off chance that Ed is watching this video, if so, you know, hello. But as I said, as a prime example of, like, what is going on in higher rating, I'm trying to find it. Basically, it was the best example I could have given, which was wrong. with the early matchmaking. And basically, I can't find it right now. It was a game that I played the other day, and I had a Draven. Oh, wait, I found it. I had a Draven on my team, and he, right now, so he's actually losing even more. He has currently got a 41% win rate, okay? He, if I go on the tier graph, he was in Master 3 days ago. He was in Master 3 days ago with a negative win rate when he was Platinum 3 last year. He is now, in his last few games, he went 0-6 on Lucian, 1-10 on Jax, 1-7 on Gragas. He's now lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row. Basically what happened is you could get high rating by playing just 200 games in the early season because you weren't losing hardly any LP. So platinum players, low diamond players were all getting like master, and obviously they're not master players. And the quality of the game is so bad because if you have 1 or 2 of these people in your game, they don't deserve to be there. They're getting crushed. And if you have just one of these guys on your team, you've lost the game. And now they're going on massive loss streaks, but they're still in your MMR, and they're just losing the game for free. That's what's happening. Like this guy right now, by the way, he was Master. He's now Diamond 2, 0 LP, but still with a 41% win rate with over 200 games played. That's what's been going on. So again, if you're not high rating, that probably hasn't happened to you. You probably haven't seen that, but that's what's gone on. So I don't really know what Riot can do about it, if I'm honest. Apart from doing a partial reset, but then a lot of people are going to be feeling cheated if there is a rank reset in higher rating. For example, myself, I climbed to higher Diamond 2 after they did the LP squash. So they did an LP squash that you lose more LP and gain less LP to try and get rid of people that don't belong. I climbed after that, and now I'd get punished even though I didn't abuse the early season. That's the kind of problem that Riot now have, and I do not know how they're going to deal with it because they're going to have people on both sides saying different things. You've got the people that are like really high rated that just want to get on with it. You've got the people that did abuse the system that are going to be all ragey, like, oh, Riot's taking away my rank even though I got there when they didn't deserve it. And then you'll have other people kind of go, but I climbed after you guys did the LP squash and now I'm getting punished. So I really don't know what they're going to do. But anyway, that's going to be this little random video. Again, let me know what your thoughts are on the whole thing down below. But yeah, I just thought I'd give a thumbs up to somebody that's doing something good. And even though you may disagree with his initial change of doing role ranked, it's nice to see people that are open to it and actually don't like just hold on to their idea and go, we're doing it no matter what. It's about the game. And that's the awesome thing. When a game designer puts the game first, thumbs up from me. But yeah, that's going to be it. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.